Wow, you can't think of the American dream without thinking about real estate, owning a piece of it. Great opportunities in any market to do that, but certainly right now when you have interest rates very low. Joining us in studio, he is a top producer. You've seen him on this show, heard him on the Craig Sewing Show. He's been a friend of mine for years. George Lormer with Remax joins us in studio.
Thank you.
Lormer, so you enjoyed our event the other day.
Oh, it was awesome.
We highlighted all you smart guys and what you know about the market. It's about 2,000 real estate professionals there, got a lot of great information. Weren't you pleasantly surprised by Alan Nevins?
Oh, yeah.
Who's an 84-year-old economist who thinks that the housing market is healthy for the next several years.
First of all, he looks amazing for 84. I had no idea.
And he's got a ton of energy. Crazy.
Yeah. And then number two, somebody asked a question about us peaking out, and he says, we haven't even recovered from the last housing bubble. And then he said, I think that we are adding 30,000 households a year, but only 10,000 new homes, and we had a deficit to begin with.
Yeah.
So I think the population, the demographics, and then what about the 8 industries that we have?
Yeah, unbelievable. And isn't that refreshing? I know people that are watching here today, or just you and me sitting there, you got to be thinking that, man, housing's so hot, people put their home on the market, multiple offers. It feels like it could be overheating.
Right.
I want to go bubbly, but overheating.
Yes.
But I mean, hey, 84-year-old economist, even he doesn't have a crystal ball, but really refreshing. I think there's a sigh of relief there that people feel good about the market.
I felt that way too, Craig. I mean, he said we were 3 years from recovering.
Yep.
And then we had legs beyond that. Amazing.
So let's talk about investors, home buyers. You're helping a lot of people out in the market do this.
Right.
What do we need to know?
So the thing I wanted to touch on is there's always multiple offers, right?
Right.
If a property comes on priced well, it sells quickly. So then
How quickly?
Oh, you know, I think the market time is about 42 days, but that includes a lot of different factors. Real long market times, it still includes a few contingent, short sales.
I love how George says about 42 days. I mean, that's pretty accurate, but you're a numbers guy.
But most of them, you know, most of them sell very quickly within a week or two.
Okay.
And
so selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, and so if something sells in a week, here's the process. A lot of people don't know. If it sells in a week, you maybe get an offer within a day or two. The seller wants to give it enough market time so that they get whatever else offers. They usually counter offer after a few days, and then they ask for highest and best from the buyers. And so if something goes under contract in 7 days, you probably got an offer that first day.
So you're on the listing side. You also work with a lot of buyers, but on the listing side, what advice would you give to the offers being made? I mean, let's say you have a seller sells a house, it's priced well, and you get 10 offers on it. How do you decide the right one to choose? I know it's not always the highest price.
No, that's absolutely right. So here's the thing. As a home seller, you know, I would do the same. You always look at the highest, right? That one is just the most juicy, Craig. So you want to go with that highest offer. Oftentimes, that is not the best offer. What could happen is maybe the person doesn't have a down payment. Maybe if it appraises low, they don't have that money for the deficit. So we advise them based on it. You know, we've been doing it a little bit over 20 years, Craig, so that's a long time.
Yep.
So we get a good feel. We have relationships with certain agents, and we know if somebody's maybe just trying to lock up the property and then they're going to retrade it, which is a term that means you come to a negotiated term, and then after the inspections you say, oh, you know, I'm coming in this much lower. That's called retrading. So we try to get somebody who will stand to what they say they're going to do and who has some options.
Can you contractualize that versus just knowing that the other person is telling you they want the home, they're not going to bail on the deal? Because then you have these contingencies that can get your get out of jail free card.
Yeah, which that's it. You know, we can make them very quick, the contingencies. I mean, I've seen, usually our cash deals are 10 days for the full escrow. So within the first 5 days are usually our contingency period.
Okay.
So we ask the buyer, hey, do your home inspection for informational purposes only. We say, you know, get a copy of the title report, be comfortable with this easement and stuff, but you really can't just say, hey, give me that suitcase full of cash in exchange for it, because there's really always, for home buyers, they want people to be safe and secure and not to lose deposits. So there's always a contingency.
What do you think the biggest mistake buyers or sellers are making right now in this kind of volatile market we're in?
So yeah, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, so from the buyer's perspective, since we're having so many multiple offers, so if I'm a buyer that goes out today looking at homes, very often they go to me, hey, I don't want to be in a bidding war. The challenge is any nice property.
The ones you're not getting in a bidding war are probably sitting on the market for a reason, right? They would have been swooped.
overpriced. They call it obsolescence. So just not as desirable as the other ones. So we give people the advice, hey, let's strategically look at it. Let's get to the properties very quick. Let's see if we can find properties prior to them hitting the open market. We spend thousands of dollars a year on databases, the notice of defaults, the pre-foreclosure, the probates, the trustee sales, the divorces. So if we can approach people that are thinking of selling, that we can plug in our buyers, it's a good situation for everybody, and generally there's not multiple offers.
I mean, so you're basically creating some of your own inventory.
Exactly.
And getting active. Got a couple books, George.
Yeah.
When do you have time to write books?
Oh, just, stay busy. So this is one, what every person should know about selling a home in San Diego. So we go through, it's about 168 pages. We give tips on handling multiple offers. If you get your full price, are you committed to selling the first day? This is free for your viewers.
Okay.
They can just reach out to you or me, sdhomebook.com.
Okay.
And then similarly, buying a home, what you need to know about it. We had one situation recently, Craig, you really got to hop on it because people always write offers, right, as they first come off the market. So I was representing a buyer in Carmel Valley. Property came on the market on a Saturday. I showed it. My client goes, I love it. We wrote an offer for it. And generally people wait, like I was saying, a week or so to respond or a few days. Well, the guy was a real cool guy. He was the owner and a realtor who did property management. And he says to me, hey, George, I'm okay with that offer. I'll take it. So we were able to, he says, I need some help.
right there.
He says, I need some help with the paperwork. If you guys could assist me as part of the job. And I said, sure. And so he's representing himself. He's a licensed realtor.
Oh, wow.
And we got it, we showed it at 3 o'clock, wrote the offer at 3:30, and got it accepted by 4:30.
Wow.
So that's like Johnny on the spot.
Quick market, huh?
Right. And so that's
crazy with real estate. We're not talking about selling things that are...
Right.
Earlier, I, in jest, said they're selling like hotcakes, but $500,000, million-dollar, multi-million-dollar properties moving really quickly. It is so important when you are navigating a decision this big in your life to get great advice, to make sure that you avoid some of the pitfalls. George, I've known him for years. Now he's got books he's writing. I mean, just absolutely killing it. One of the best marketers in the business. GeorgeLormer.com if you connect with George. George, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you, Craig.
All right, coming up next, we're going to dive into the Gaslamp District, find out what's going on there. 19 cranes in downtown, and the greatest project ever at San Diego is coming up. Also, we're going to dive into the benefits of solar. Mike Turiso winning awards all over the place. I really want him to help us understand how you can make money by purchasing solar. Really save money, but all this on the American Dream coming up here in just a moment. All right, now joining us in studio to talk about a discussion topic that's so important. Everything I try and do on the show is to be positioned as a consumer advocate, from financial planning to real estate, but even those little extra things that you might not necessarily pay attention to, but you hear about things like solar energy where you can save money on your bill. And what we've learned recently, it can also add value to your home. So joining us in studio, Mike Turiso, good to have you on the show again.
Hey, thanks, Craig.
All right, man. So what, fastest growing companies in San Diego? Every time I'm on your guys' newsletter, I mean, you have these laundry list of awards of everything you're winning. So what's the latest?
Yeah, so we're nominated as one of the fastest growing companies in San Diego again by the San Diego Business Journal. We were ranked number 10 last year, so we're hoping to be in that top 10 again this year. So we'll know in July is when that award comes out.
Solar's a big topic these days, right? Saves people money, it's good for the earth, and as we discussed last time you were on, it can actually add value to your home.
Sure.
So important stuff.
So yeah, when you're buying solar for your home, you've got to consider what else is it doing for you. Yes, it's saving you money electric bill, but when you're buying that system, it's adding value to your home. And now when you have your home appraised, a proper appraisal will include a line item that says this is the value of your solar that's been added to your home.
So let's talk about that. I bought a home last year. Your team came out and assessed. There's some ragged solar on there. We still got to fix it up. But there's some panels up there. But what do you need to know if you're buying a house solar, that has solar on it, or if you have a house with solar, how you approach selling it? Let's start with the buyer.
So for the buyer, so when you're buying a house with solar, you want to know what is the value of that solar on that house, and what's the expected production. What is it expected to do for you in terms of how much energy it's going to produce? So when you buy the house, just like you would have a home inspection done, you really want a home inspection done by a qualified PV electrician that can look at that system, look to make sure it's mechanically functioning properly, and they can also do an audit to make sure what is the expected production for the next 5, 10, 20 years?
Now, are you seeing that a lot of the homes that do have solar, I know that we just mentioned that an appraisal, the property value can be higher, but are you seeing that when people are going to sell the property, they're bumping up the list price? How's that playing into the contract of the deal?
Sure, sure. I mean, you're reducing the operating costs of that home.
Right.
So the seller is going to look at that as a home improvement, as if they've just improved the kitchen or the bathroom. They're looking at something they've improved the home with that's actually going to save money operating that home for the next 20 years. So that's going to add a bit more value, and I think people are looking for it now too. The homes typically sell a little bit faster.
What do you think keeps people from doing it? Because you obviously have to make the investment into it. You put the solar on your home, and then it's going to reduce your electric bill. What do you think keeps people from just making the commitment? Is it a money thing? Is it a time thing? Is it I got a mile-long list of things I need to do, and this is somewhere on there?
Well, sure. I think a lot of people look at it as, is it too good to be true?
Yeah.
I mean, feels like it's one of those things that's just too good to be true. There are very few things like that, but yes, solar for most people are going to save them money right from day one, or if they choose to put the cash outlay out and buy it for $20,000, $30,000, 4 or 5 years from now, they're not going to have an electric bill. No electric bill for the next 20 years. So people look at that and go, is that really possible? I think so that has a lot to do with it. Is it too good to be true? And then how are you going to finance it? Are you going to do a lease or are you going to take out a loan? All those options are available. You can get a 20-year loan now on a solar system, so it's right for everybody.
Well, I love that. I love that it can actually add the value to the property, right? It's one thing to just think, okay, we're going to lower our bill, because then you have this time frame of, well, how many years are going to be in the home? And maybe that's the conflict. Well, we only think we're going to be in our home a couple of years. But if you think, what was a good rule of thumb?
A good rule of thumb, if you're buying a system, you're looking at anywhere from about 4 to 7 years is when you're going to start seeing a return on your investment.
So if you're in a home, you want to do good by the planet, you want to save some money, 4+ years, but keep in mind, it does add value to your property. Can you do solar on downtown high-rise condos?
That's a little more difficult. That's a little bit more difficult, yeah.
Well, that's a good segue to Mr. Downtown. Robert Weichelt's going to be joining us in studio. But Mike Turiso, congratulations on all your guys' success. Thank you for being a part of our big event last week. There's plenty of solar companies out there. I see bubble-wrapped cars and infomercials and a lot of advertising. But the reality is there's only one company that I endorse for solar. It's Mike Turiso. It's Baker Electric Solar. There's a reason that they are winning awards, and they've been doing it for a long, long time. So, Mike, we always learn something when you come in. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Craig.
But we are going downtown, where I don't think you can get solar, unless they somehow, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Joining us now, next in studio, Robert Weichelt, Mr. Downtown, is going to let us know why there's 19 cranes. What are all these cranes building down there? We have some real cool luxury stuff happening in America's finest city. Stick around. Great stuff coming from Robert right here on the American Dream in just a moment. Now, in studio with us, there's not a better person to talk about America's finest city than Mr. Downtown himself. Robert Weichelt joins us in studio again. And we have a very special guest. Now, here's the challenging part of having Jane Mitchell here. She is an entrepreneur, a mother, an author, host of a TV show. My job is threatened right now. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
And that's your book?
It is. It's part of my weightlifting.
Dictionary?
Yeah, 3.5 pounds.
Well, good to have you here.
Thank
so you got a phenomenal story. So let's start with you. No, I'm just kidding. Robert is obviously very gifted in what he does, and we'll talk a little bit about the downtown market. But he introduced you to the show. Honored to have you here. So tell us a little bit about what you've been doing. I mean, you obviously have a laundry list of things that you've done. How you staying active?
Well, 15 years at Channel 4 San Diego, which was wonderful. Owned by Cox Communications. We were the home of the Padres, and an opportunity to do something really new, connect the players with the fans. And that was really the idea back behind it in 1996. And we launched in 1997, and we had no idea what it would do. And it just grew and grew and grew. And I'm just so proud that 15 years later, by the time the book came out, I was able to incorporate so many people's stories. Not only that we had watched and seen on the field, but now they're part of, San Diego's history, our sports history, and captured in a book. So I did that for 15 years and wrote the book.
And of course, the two guys you're talking to here are maybe two of the biggest baseball fans. We're just sitting here. So tell us some stories. I mean, page or two out of the book?
Well, you know, just the experiences. I usually get the question, and Robert even had this for me when we met, is, you know, who are your favorites? And, you know, it's kind of like your siblings. You can't really say who your favorites are.
But
However,
let's pretend like it's a niece or nephew.
Oh.
You can do that for nieces or nephews. Siblings, I get it. You
okay.
can't.
Well, I'll give you my top 4, or 4 of the top 10. How's that?
Okay.
The number 1 has to be Ken Caminiti, because when we were going into this venture, we wanted to connect the fans with the players, and at the time, Ken Caminiti had just won the National League MVP, but he had shoulder surgery, so nobody knew how would he be ready for opening day in 1997. So I said, you know, well, okay, he's one of the stars, right? We need to meet him. So the Padres did the communication. I went to Houston, but before the interview, I was told that, you know, this is a quiet guy, doesn't talk a lot. You know, just be careful, maybe some of the topics you bring up may be sensitive, you know, just kind of be, and I said, well, you know, thank you very much for that, and I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
So went to Houston with 1 photographer, videographer, and someone from the front office, and spent the day with Cammy. And, you know, I didn't even know how to say his name until I, you know, did my research. I was like, wait, who's this guy? Because I was not, interestingly enough, not a big sports fan. I watched the Padres.
Are you now?
Well, sure,
You
yeah.
have
And
to
I
be
fell
now.
in love with the game, of course, and fell in love with it. But sat down and started, you know, in his living room with lights, camera, you know, blind dog and kids and babies and all of this. And hour and a half later, I looked back at my photographer and the guy who was there, and I said, can you guys think of anything? Did we miss anything? And their jaws were dropped. And I don't say that to be braggadocious, that I was some, you know, brought all this out in him, but the situation was so unique. We gave him a chance to talk about things that were important to him in a setting that wasn't after the game, you know, boom, mic in your face, cameras and lights and everything crazy around it. It was in his home with a chance to just talk about who he was as a person. And so he's got to be my number 1.
Well, I know you're very good at it, and storytelling, it's so important now, too, with social media and getting these stories out here, and we appreciate you sharing yours. I'll get to the other 3, but we're going to have to get you back on the show because I got to also make sure we touch up on the downtown market. But what are you up to now?
Okay. I had a baby.
Congratulations.
Now is 3, so I'm a single mother by choice, so that was quite the adventure, my best production ever. And I am launching and have launched something called Your Story, Your Legacy, which is helping people tell their own stories for their families, for their legacies. So, you know, you don't have to be famous, you don't have to be a star to have important things to share with your family, with your grandchildren, with your company, whatever. So that is something I really believe in.
And certainly the point I just made with social media and connectivity, I mean, now I think your story matters more than it ever has.
And to capture it in the way where it's not just quick, you know, that we have it where you can have it for years to come. I did it for my father, who was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease 25 years ago, and so I have 5.5 hours of him on tape. And I did it for my mother's 90th birthday party and did a narration, a half-hour show for her.
Wow.
So I really believe in it, and I welcome anyone interested.
Yeah, I hope people will reach out to you
My
online.
website has all that kind of information.
Absolutely. People reach out to you. I have it right in front of me, JaneMitchell1on1.com.
Right.
So let's talk a little downtown. We just talked baseball, some of the San Diego greats. You live, work, and play down there. What's going on in the market?
You know what, the market is, it's hot. You know, it really is. I mean, baseball season brings out a lot of great things downtown, not just in the East Village, but the whole downtown market is just on fire. And that downtown market bleeds into Mission Hills, into Hillcrest, into all the metro area. I mean, it's just a really great market.
Yeah, I remember when we originally met, and I think one of the first times you came on the show that you had mentioned that you're always helping people move into downtown, but also move out of downtown, right? I used to live downtown and bought a house, and it was time to move out, but then you're the empty nester. You know his story. He leaves his kids behind and goes downtown.
My
That's
bride
a heck
and I
of a
said,
tell
"Hey,
that
we're out."
story.
We have to remember that, you know, they are 21 and 24,
right,
not
right.
6 and 8 like everyone always.
They got stories to be bigger than that book.
Okay.
I know. Well, there's a lot of money going into downtown as well. There's these big projects. Was it Pacific Gate?
Pacific Gate. We did our show there a few months ago, and we're actually having our 50th birthday party for this guy right here.
All right.
At the Pacific Gate Gallery, the Reefing Gallery. We're having our White Count Wednesday. As you know, we're always well attended.
Yep.
You know, with our community service, we do our cleanups, we do our walking tours, but our White Count Wednesday has really gained a ton of momentum. So Pacific Gate actually reached out to us and said, would you like to do White Count Wednesday at our gallery?
Wow.
So I can't wait. That's September 7th. It's going to be 5 to 7. More information to follow at the website, robertwhitekelt.com. Super excited.
Well, about a week ago, I did an event that had 2,500 realtors at it, and we put Robert on stage. And I said at that time, and I'll say it again now, that I don't know too many people in real estate that are more involved in the community, from the DCPC, what you do downtown, to cleaning up trash down there and recording it, turning it into videos, to the White Count Wednesday. Now, obviously, this thing you got going on at Pacific Gate. So we appreciate you staying active down there, and certainly bringing in Jane Mitchell. Congratulations on pretty much everything, the book, the kid, and the fact that you seem to be continuing the entrepreneurial spirit. Seems like the best days are ahead of you as well.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Well, great way to finish up the show. We have run through the Sewing Says segment, but it was well worth it. So that is all for today. Thank you so much for tuning into The American Dream. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. And don't forget, you can visit us online at craigsewing.com. Have a good one.